Most of us walk through life believing a simple equation. If you do your job, treat people decently, and keep to yourself, you've fulfilled your moral obligations. But in Islamic theology, this concept of the innocent bystander is a fallacy. Tolerating normalized wrongdoing without objection is treated not as a neutral choice, but as a fatal flaw. This introduces the concept of dawah. While often translated as inviting others to Islam, its core requirement involves a communal mandate to actively encourage what is right and firmly discourage what is wrong. This raises a question for the modern believer. If you pray, fast, and mind your own business, why would your personal righteousness fail to protect you when you ignore the corruption happening around you? The reality is that retreating into private morality offers no actual safety. In a connected society, silence functions exactly like complicity. The Quran illustrates this through the account of the Sabbath Breakers, a fishing village that faced a specific divine test. Fish would only appear in abundance on the Sabbath. The one day fishing was strictly forbidden. Some villagers attempted a workaround, setting their nets the night before and hauling them in the morning after to claim they hadn't worked on the day of rest. This single act of deception split the community into 3 distinct factions, each with a different approach to the transgression. First were the transgressors, those who actively used the workaround to catch the fish. Second were the active warners. They confronted the fishermen directly, advising them to fear Allah and stop the deception. Finally, there were the passive believers. They did not break the law themselves, but they mocked the warners, asking why they bothered talking to people who were already destined for ruin. The warners explained that they spoke up to free themselves from blame before their Lord. Meanwhile, the third group relied entirely on the idea that their personal piety would be enough to distance them from the consequences. When the divine punishment finally descended, the outcome followed a strict line. Allah rescued only the active warners. The people who minded their own business, who never cast a single net but chose to look the other way, were destroyed alongside the active sinners. This historical account mirrors a broader warning from Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He warned that when a community stops encouraging good and forbidding evil, it invites a calamity that impacts the entire society, regardless of individual merit. Under these conditions of collective apathy, even the sincere prayers of the righteous can go unanswered. Individual piety is effectively nullified when a person abandons the duty to protect the community from its own corruption. However, this same system of collective responsibility creates a massive opportunity for reward. Guiding others triggers a cumulative gain that solitary worship cannot reach. If your efforts lead just one person to the truth, you share in the reward of every prayer they perform, every fast they keep, and every charity they give, without taking anything away from them. As they teach their children, and those children teach the next generation, that reward energy traces all the way back to you, growing larger with every passing decade. Proactive guidance isn't just a chore, it is the most effective way to build a spiritual legacy that outlives you. The Quran summarizes these requirements for success in a brief chapter known as Surah Al-Asr. It states that humanity is in a state of loss, except for those who fulfill 4 criteria. They have faith, they do righteous deeds, and crucially, they join together to teach the truth and encourage patience. This stands in direct opposition to the look the other way ethos of the modern era. In Islam, your safety is tied to the person standing next to you. Imagine society as passengers on a shared ship navigating a deep ocean. If a passenger below deck starts drilling a hole in the hull, those on the upper deck cannot claim it doesn't affect them. Stopping that person isn't an act of interference. It is the only way everyone on board reaches the shore.